Hello, divine souls. Djemilah Birnie here with Becoming the Big Me. I'm so excited for this special segment of the Becoming the Big Me podcast. This section of the podcast is dedicated towards sharing the stories of conquest for some incredible individuals. They are also featured in my latest book, Becoming the Big Me, the Great Conquest. In this section of the podcast, we will dive deep into each of their stories and their journeys and their hardships, from addiction, PTSD, loss of loved ones and children. This segment of the podcast is dedicated towards sharing their stories and sharing their journeys, not only of the hardships, but sharing how they overcame. To learn more about the authors behind the stories that you are going to hear, go to thegreatconquest.com. And if you would like to purchase a copy of the Great Conquest book, you can go to bit.ly/Great Conquest. And without further ado, let's dive into the amazing journeys. Hello, my friends. It's me again. And on this episode, we are diving into chapter 3 of the Becoming the Big Me, the Great Conquest book. Chapter 3. Take a moment to bask in your awesomeness. Remember to pause and reflect on how far you have come. I know that there are moments in which you forget your greatness. You forget the immense power that you hold inside your very being. Don't get me wrong, I understand. It can be easy to allow yourself to become consumed in the present day problem, that you forget the great strides that you have already made. Just pause for a moment and take a second to reflect. Did you ever think that you would have made it as far as you have already? I know that there was a point in my life where I didn't even think that I would be alive to see 25. Not to mention speak on stages, publish books, and have the opportunity to create and learn each and every day with some of the best humans. So reflect right now, today, in this moment. Just sit and reflect. Do not do it for me. Do it for yourself. Remember how far you have come. Remember all of the obstacles that you've already overcome. I mean, you are here, alive, reading this book with me now. Take a moment to celebrate yourself, not just for all your wins, but for all of your accomplishments. But for all of the obstacles that you have overcome. For all of the times that you did not know how to move forward, but you did anyways. This was a quote from Sharon Lecter. You may have had something that stopped you in your tracks. Most of us have. It could have been the death of a loved one like me, or it could have been a divorce, financial setback, or illness. But you are still here. You are still here for a reason. You have a message, and what you survived is powerful and can actually help others going through the same thing. End quote, Sharon Lecter. I know that this journey is not easy, and I'm proud of you. I really am. I think that you should be proud of yourself too. So before we dive into this book and all of the stories of conquest, pause and think about your own journey. Think about that time that you got back up when all you wanted to do was give up. Ponder upon the moment that you truly thought there was no way to move forward, yet somehow you did. In these pockets of struggle that we all experience is where we have the opportunity to truly find out what it is that we are made of. In these moments of darkness and despair, we actually have this incredible opportunity to prove to ourselves who we are. We get to choose if we are going to get back up and move forward or allow the weight of life's woes to stop us right in our tracks. Give yourself credit for all those times that you could have given up, but you didn't. During my conversation with Nick Wingo, the founder of Building Grit, who's passionate about spreading awareness about first responders working related mental health conditions, he stressed how important both gratitude and meditation are to him. Beginning of the quote. One of my core values is to have gratitude every single day. The first thing I do when I wake up and open my eyes is I look at my wife and I think about how grateful I am for her. I look around and remind myself how grateful I am for the house that I am in, the bed that I have, my children, and more than anything, grateful to be alive for another day. One of the other things that helps me is meditation and yoga. Yes, me, the bald, 230-pound, tattooed dude with a beard doing yoga and meditation. I know, I don't look like the type. Yet I'm all in. I have learned how important they are and how much they have helped me, so I don't care. I'm about it. Meditation and chakra clearing have been huge for me, as part of it is learning how to feel your emotions, how to actually feel where you're feeling an emotion. That was one of the things that I've struggled with my entire life. I don't want to feel my emotions. I felt like emotions were bullshit and I wanted to sit that one out. Yet through taking the time to pause and be with myself, I have started to learn what my emotions truly feel like. Now I'm starting to recognize what I'm feeling and where I'm feeling it, and it has allowed me to know how to process it better. End quote. Nick Wingo. In order to truly feel our emotions, it is important that we give ourselves the space to feel them. Yet often we get so caught up in the hustle and the bustle of life, the mile-long to-do list, and the needs of everyone else, that we forget to take this time to sit in gratitude for our own awesomeness. So pause. Remember who you are. Remember why you are here. Beginning quote. Success is really how you feel about yourself when you look in the mirror. End quote. Sharon Lecter. It is true. It doesn't matter what your neighbor, cousin, sister, friend, or anyone else thinks about you. If you don't feel it in your heart, if you don't feel it for yourself, I'm sorry, but you're not successful. Too often you allow yourself to give up your power and your awesomeness because you get caught in the comparison trap. Every time that you find yourself shaming yourself for not being there faster or looking upon others with a jealous eye, you are allowing yourself to fall into this trap. Every time that you do this, you're allowing yourself to fall back down the black hole of comparison. As Jennifer Abbey stated, beginning quote, if everybody was meant to be a stay-at-home mom, or if everyone's meant to be a working mom, or if everyone's meant to be a journalist, it'd be a pretty boring world. But we have been created for our own purposes, and I think all the shaming has got to go. End quote. Through the process of writing this book, shame kept coming up. This strong emotion we have all felt at some point in our journey. This emotion that we put on ourselves for not measuring up to some picture-perfect version of ourselves. The journey of becoming isn't about being perfect all the time. The journey of becoming is seeing ourselves as we are, where we are, and continuing to grow each and every day. While speaking with Jenny Emerson, she stated, beginning quote, I have a history of being very shame-driven, that I'm not enough, or that I haven't achieved enough, or haven't done enough. So for me, coming out of this obstacle was grace. Remembering that I'm doing the best I can with what I've got. Where I'm at right now is quite all right. End quote. So I guess what I'm trying to say, I just want you to know how awesome you are. And I want you to realize how powerful you realizing how powerful you are is. I want you to see it for yourself. I know for me personally that if I do not take the time to intentionally recognize my own power, I can forget it. So pause. Take a moment in reflection for how far you have come. Pause. Reflect on all you have done. Pause in gratitude for your own self. You are doing so good. When I asked Dr. Frances Malone how she's able to get herself to show up even when faced with fear, she responded, well, Djemilah, I have incorporated into my life little places and little things that I do to show myself that I care about Frances, the things that remind myself of my own importance, end quote. So before you continue with this book, take the time to sit in reflection, pull out a notebook and write down 10 reasons why you are awesome. Sit with that and take a moment of appreciation with yourself and truly reflect. Because you, my friend, you're pretty darn amazing. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode of the Becoming the Big Me podcast. I know that you found value in hearing this story today, and I would love if you could show your support by going and grabbing a copy of our book. And you can do so by going to bit.ly/Great Conquest. You can also go to www.thegreatconquest.com for more information about each of the individuals involved in this process. Thanks again for tuning in.